Okay, sixth grade, this is problem number 1 from 5.4 classwork page on dividing decimals. So here we have 272 and 7/10 divided by 2 and 25 hundredths. Now, when you divide by decimals, you cannot have a decimal outside the division bracket. Or you could say it like this. You got to have a whole number outside the division bracket. And so if you have right now a decimal, you have to move the decimal so that you have a whole number. And so I can get 2.25 to be a whole number by moving this decimal 2 places to the right. Now, if I move the decimal on this number, I must also move the decimal in this number the same exact way that I moved it in this one. And so since I went 2 to the right here, I must also go 2 places to the right with this decimal. So 1, 2, and my decimal would be right there. What digit goes right there? Well, that is a 0. That's a placeholder 0, so I got to add that in. Okay? Now, let's rewrite the problem. So outside the division bracket, you have 225. And inside now, our number is 27270. 27270. And of course, the decimal point is right there. We could add a placeholder 0 after it, right? There's all kinds of placeholder zeros after this that we could go ahead and add. Okay, so how many times can 225 go into 2? Well, it can't. It's too big. Can 225 go into 27? Nope, still too big. What about 272? Can 225 go into 272? Yep, it can one time. So you put your 1 over the last digit that you're considering. The last digit that you're looking at is the 2, so 225 goes into this number one time. It goes right over the 2. 1 times 225 is 225, so I put that number right there, and I subtract 272 minus 225, that is 47. Bring down the next digit. The next digit is a 7. How many times can 225 go into 477? It goes in 2 times. So I put the 2 right over the 7 there, right? Because it's the last digit that I'm considering. 2 times 225, that's 450. You subtract, that would give you 27. Bring down the next digit, which is a 0. Okay? So how many times can 225 go into 270? It goes in 1 time. 1 times 225 is 225. If you subtract, you get 45. Now, that's why we added a placeholder 0, because we're not done dividing yet, because our remainder is 45 right now. So if you don't have a placeholder 0 after the decimal, you need to add one. So add a placeholder 0 so that you can bring that 0 down. Okay, so now we're left with 450 here. Now in your quotient, your answer, the decimal point, remember, goes directly above where it's at. It goes directly up. So in my answer, that's where my decimal point is, after the 1. Okay, so now I'm looking for how many times can 225 go into 450? Well, exactly 2 times. We've already saw how it goes in exactly 2 times. So this 2 is the first digit after the decimal point. 2 times 250, that's 450. If I subtract, I would get a remainder of 0. Okay, since my remainder is 0, this tells me this is what we call a terminating decimal, which means that the decimal ends. There's a stopping point. It ends after the digit 2, right? We get 121 and 2/10. It doesn't keep going forever and ever and ever. It stops right at the 2. So this would be my answer, 121 and 2/10. That's what I would circle.